Hey guys, I'm Patrick.
And I'm Allie.
And this is Work Our Way, a podcast about our travels through Australia, through content creation, comedy, and our relationship. Welcome.
Woo, welcome.
Yeah, we are broadcasting, live. We're alive at at the Great Australian Bight.
Yeah, we are on the edge of a cliff.
Yeah, you know why they call it the Bight?
Why?
You don't remember?
No, I don't.
The guy told us.
Oh, I never listen to people when they talk.
All right. Well, they call it the Bight because it's the part of Australia that looks like someone took a bite out of it. And to drive that point home, they spelled it B-I-G-H-T.
Who told us that?
David.
The mechanic?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. We'll have to talk. We'll tell you guys about David a little later. But
yeah,
first,
we're teasing David.
Let's talk about the nicest comment we've gotten so far.
Yes.
And the nicest review on Apple Podcasts. If you guys haven't already checked it out or left a review, shame on you.
Yeah, do it. What are you waiting for? Guys, leave us preferably a 5-star and write something nice about us. But what did this one say?
So it was from a Mrs. S79, and I, for the life of me, cannot figure out who wrote it. But it basically said, hey, love the podcast. Just so you guys know, I showed the video that you guys made, let me tell you about our van, to my students to show them about the efficiency of solar panels. And now they want to meet you. And this is just so great. And when I initially read that review, my heart broke into a million pieces because I was just so taken. I was just so happy. I was like, okay. That is so kind.
That breaks your heart?
No, I guess, yeah, wrong
I
analogy.
Was a puddle on the floor with how happy I was. I went on a savage murdering spree because of my joy.
Yeah. But then immediately I was like, oh my God, we did not talk about solar panels at all. We actually explicitly said, we don't know how they work. And she showed that to an entire classroom of what I presume were maybe elementary school kids. The instruction probably went a little something like this. Hey, children, you don't want to come off as this stupid when making a video that you produce. So here's how solar panels work. I know
Or else you're going to seem like an idiot. You're going to be making podcasts about how to spell bite.
Yeah. I know you guys are only 11 years old, but I'm going to make sure that you never get to a point in your lives where you're 30 years old, living out of a van, and talking about solar panels. I was just like, wow, we must have sounded so dumb. And in the comment, she was like, my kids want to meet you. And I was like, yeah, probably to tell us to our faces
to roast
how dumb we are.
Yeah.
I'm horrified.
Wonder what grade she teaches.
I have no idea. I have no idea who that is.
Yeah, shout out S79. Yeah, we appreciate you.
Yeah,
but if you guys haven't seen the video, check it out. It's on our YouTube channel, Work Our Way, and it's a little play on Life Aquatic.
Yep.
Where they tell you about the boat. Only we tell you about our van.
Yeah.
It's clever.
It's awesome.
Oh, speaking of reviews,
we got our first 2-star review.
First 2-star. Shout out Ray Bonner.
Yeah. Your dad.
The comment you left seemed nicer than a 2-star rating. I think that might have been a mistake. So I don't think you can undo it. If you can, would love for you to work on that. But if you can't, guys, get out there and give us better reviews than that 2-star.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. We were like, a 2-star? Oh my God, wonder what this is for.
Yeah, they left a comment?
Yep,
oh my God.
And we scroll down to see where the comment is, and it's Ray Bonner. Love the podcast, best one yet. 2 stars.
He sets the bar high, apparently.
No, he has a high quality of standard of quality.
Damn, how was being his son?
Yeah.
It must have been tough.
I'll tell you, it was 2 out of 5 stars. Loved it. I give it the highest rating Ray Bonner can give something, which is 2 out of 5. Best I've ever heard.
Well, good to know. Yeah. Wow. Ooh, so lots happened in the last week.
Yeah. What do you want to start with?
Let's talk about Bassadine again, because that place was unreal the second time around, just as much as the first time.
Yep. I use this term very loosely. I headlined, kind of. They had me do about 15, not the full 20 that I was expecting, but which is fine. Yeah, another weird show. It's a bizarre night. There were a couple first-timers. One of the first-timers, I felt so bad for him.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as going first, like your first time, Australia is like a pretty good and generous place to go.
Yeah.
I remember my first time, and it started with the host not knowing who I was, which was on me. I should have introduced myself and made sure that he knew who I was my first time, whatever. Because do you remember? We're sitting waiting. I was waiting to go up, and the host is like, who is Patrick Bonner? And I was just like, uh-oh, and I like started to get up. He's like, no, you're not up yet. I just wanted to make sure I knew who you were before you're up in like 2. And this is all into the mic, and I'm like mortified.
In front of everyone.
Yeah, in front of the crowd I was about to go up. So anyway, the Australian crowds are generally a lot more forgiving. They're nice, they're respectful. Mm-hmm. They are like all of those things that we had, like in the last episode we were talking about the host kind of, oh, this is this guy's first time, so be generous, be welcoming, be all those things that I know a great crowd could be, and like amping up the crowd to like be supportive.
Yeah.
That's not the way it goes in the States.
No way.
No. It's just like, oh, this is this asshole's first time. Make sure you like relentlessly hate everything he does so that he does not sleep a wink tonight.
Yeah, it's his first time, but it's on you guys to make sure it's his last time.
Yeah, make sure this asshole never tries comedy again. That's how it goes in the States. But that's not how it goes over here in Australia. So they the host amped the crowd up, like made sure that they were supportive and cool, and this guy goes up and he's got his 5 minutes of things that he thought might be funny that he's going to present to the crowd, and there are these 2 women in the back who will not shut their stupid mouths.
They were wasted.
They were getting drunk as a skunk, and I'll tell you, there's nothing that a woman drinking a martini hates more than being told to shut the fuck up.
Oh my god, it only made things worse.
Oh, and like I felt bad for this kid because everybody because this was rough for him to have to push through, but he pushed through. He had to push through them talking, but everybody around these women just going, shh.
Everybody. Turning around because they were in the back.
And like for this guy who's on the stage, like it probably sounded like everybody was shushing him. Which is fucking brutal.
What do you
Absolutely brutal. But he pressed on. He just kept doing his dumb whatever.
He had to.
Yeah, he had no choice. You can't bail. You can't bail on your own stuff.
Oh my god.
So but he stuck with it. Good, and really good for him.
Yeah. 2 out of 5 stars for the host, I think.
You think he did really well?
No.
Well, don't give him the Ray Bonner highest form of praise.
No, an actual 2 out of 5 star. I mean, he was, he had hosted a million times before, but like we were talking about last episode, a host is supposed to cleanse the palate a little bit and kind of get everyone re-energized.
Well, we got a question kind of regarding that. Let's do that.
You want to do that
let's
now?
fold the question in because we're kind of about to answer it. So let's make sure that we do.
Yeah. I gotta pull it up real quick, but it's from Riley.
Yeah, Riley. Shout out to Riley for the question.
I'll just read it verbatim. Here we go. You talked about what makes a good host at an open mic during episode 9. My question is, do you think there is any way that hosting open mics can help improve a comedian's stand-up? If the answer is no, why do people volunteer to do it?
Well, the answer is definitely yes. So, as a host, like one of the skills you want to cultivate is the ability to read the room, right? And reset the room after a person bombs, after a person crushes. Like you want to service the show. So like hosting an open mic is probably, I haven't done it. So I'm trying to compare people that I've seen do it very, very well. Couple of standouts in mind. In the Fort Collins scene, particularly Nate Brown, who ran Hodie's Half Note.
He did great.
He just actually gave up that mantle, passed it on to Luke Gaston. So looking forward to what he does with it. But Nate would be I mean, as deadpan as ever. Could not give a shit if it was your first time, if you've been doing it a while. You could do well in that room, and if you didn't, like he did, he was agnostic about the whole thing, which I think made him a good host. He was good at his material. He was good at making a joke about the next person or the person who just got off. And the reason I guess people look for hosting opportunities is because it forces you to flex outside of just your material. It forces you to like really be in tune with the crowd. It forces you to serve the show. It forces you like to work kind of comedy chops that you wouldn't typically do if you're just working on your material at open mics, doing your 5 and getting off. Like it forces you to do crowd work, right? It forces you to read the room. So that's why I think people try to find spots to like host, like opportunities to host, because it just teaches you how to work an audience. How to turn an audience into like a fractured bunch of people to one group sitting and listening to the next comic. Yeah. So that's what like a good host can do.
One thing I've seen some hosts do, and I'm not sure if it's good or bad, maybe you can enlighten me a little bit, but remember Lazy Susans? There was that host from Sydney who was really crushed. Good.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first guy that went up who just horribly bombed? Like really bad. I don't even remember what he said. I just remember just cringing.
Oh, yeah.
And she came on afterward and was like, that was pretty bad. Are you guys okay? Is everyone fine? Like, this is an open mic. You never know what you're going to get. And she almost leaned into how bad that was. Instead of trying to make it seem like it was fine and make it seem like people should forget about it, she almost did the opposite. Do you think that's good or is that bad?
It's whatever does the job. You know what I mean? So that's just kind of style points for however you react to it. But the host has to also be the voice of the crowd.
Okay.
Right? So if something crazy just happened, you can't pretend like something crazy didn't just happen.
Yeah.
Someone bombed so hard.
Like you can't
you can't pretend like it's all good.
Yeah.
You gotta say something. And however you do that, like you can do that a number of ways. You can shit on the person who just came out, like you can roast them, you can roast their set.
Yeah.
You can make an excuse for them. Like you can just make it as long as you are serving the rest of the show and being funny. Like that's really all that matters.
Yeah.
Right? And she was exceptionally funny.
Yeah.
So there was almost nothing she couldn't do that wouldn't have been beneficial for the show after the bomb. And the next person bombed after that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That was the same show as Santa.
Yeah, Santa. That creep.
Yeah.
But the show in Bassendean.
Oh my God. We don't have to say his name, but I was just so blown away. Do you remember? So some of the lineups in the first bracket, I think a large majority of them were black. One was from Uganda, one was from East Africa.
Oh, yeah.
And then there was another guy. And they did, in my opinion, fairly well.
Oh, well, yeah, one was singing. No, that's not. Never mind. Where was that girl from?
The girl was Bangladesh.
Oh, shit. Okay, I was way off.
A little bit. Totally different continent.
Yeah, I mean, I thought she was North African.
But he went on after one of these black comics, and he was from South Africa.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh my God, when I came to Australia.
He's a white guy.
Yeah, totally white. He was like, no one believed that I was from Africa. And no one believed I was from Africa.
They saw my passport, and they were like, you're from Africa? Yes, the first thing they took was, the first thing they took from me was my blackness.
He said that.
And everybody was like, ugh.
My jaw hit the floor and stayed there. I was like, what did you just say? And I looked at all the black comedians and no one was laughing. They were like, bro, you can't say that as a white guy.
That was so funny.
I was like, oh my God. And then he was just like, and the next act is, he just went right into it. I was like, okay, so we're just going to roll right through that.
Oh, he had a rough night of hosting. There was another thing that he bombed.
Well, there was the Bangladesh girl, who was talking about Tinder, and like it was her 7th time doing comedy, so she was also new.
Which you can forgive kind of the hack premises of Tinder and whatever, but
for sure. But she was good looking, like she was attractive.
Pretty girl, tight clothes.
Yeah.
And then he goes up and says something.
He called her out. He was like, "Hey, you." The girl that was just here, where are you? And she's like, me. And she was like in the audience, like, I'm right here. And he's like, do you know that song? And then he was like describing the song.
Yeah, do you fuck on first dates? And then was just like, show me your tits.
It was so
what the fuck?
I was like, what?
Oh.
So he struck out with the black comedians. He struck out with all the female audience members.
And then he went up there and was, he said something, and I forget the context of it. But he was like, me and my girlfriend, and then called her by the wrong name.
Yeah. He was talking about donating to the Wildlife Foundation because of all the fires. And he's like, hey, we have a box up here. You guys can donate. Me and Lisa would be so appreciative if you guys helped out. And Lisa is not his girlfriend's name. His girlfriend's name is Jo.
Oh. Okay, we'll edit. We're gonna not do names. You went with fucking 2 of the real ones.
Oh, sorry.
It's all good.
You didn't say his name, so I thought it was a little good.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll bleep it out.
Yeah. So he like froze on stage, and we were all just like, "Uh-oh, this isn't a bit. This is actually happening."
Yeah.
And it was honestly best joke of the night.
For him, yeah, definitely. Yeah. And then we never saw him again.
Oh, yes. He handed off mid-show. He handed off the hosting duties after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully he's okay.
Yeah, hopefully he's all right. Shout out to him. Great show. Wild night. My jokes did okay. I think it was off to a real good start. Then I hit a harsh lull. It was mostly like middle-aged people in the audience, and I've got a chunk in the middle that kind of roasts baby boomers on Facebook. And I think that's where I lost them.
Because they were all baby boomers.
Yeah, maybe they don't know what Facebook is. Kind of a low technological crowd there in Pasadena. Yeah. I'm not sure if they were offended or they don't have any context. They don't know what Facebook is. Anyway, got him back. Fun night, fun show, good times.
Yeah, I mean, so many of them are on meth too. I mean, Pasadena is old, white, and they're all kind of meth heads.
Again, yeah.
I mean,
why is that the drug of choice?
I don't know. They're so old. They either do meth to feel alive or to stay alive.
Yeah,
it seems like.
Yeah, it seems like they're held on by a very small amount of glue that is meth. I don't know. That was a good one. All right.
Oh man, so that was Pasadena.
Pasadena. Shout out.
One other thing we had to do when we were in Pasadena was get Fatty checked up on in the maintenance shop.
Yeah.
Because we were going to go across the Outback.
But David, our mechanic.
Oh boy.
Tons of facts on that guy.
Yeah.
He was a fact machine. One of those facts was this van can't make it in the Outback.
He literally was like, I had a couple who came in here with a caravan and tried to do the exact same route. And we're like, oh yeah, what happened to them? And he's like, oh, their van was destroyed. That was the word he used.
He pulled his glasses down just a bit so he's looking over his frames and he goes, they were destroyed. The caravan was destroyed.
And I was like, destroyed?
And he was like, destroyed.
When I think of destroyed, I think of like getting T-boned by a semi going 100 kilometers per hour.
Pieces, yeah.
Or I think of putting C4 in the front seat and detonating it.
Does that happen often?
No, but that's destroyed. That's destroyed. That's Elon Musk sending our van into space. Like, that's destroyed.
The Carabinieri once destroyed a vehicle by your definition.
Yeah, exactly that same way.
Yeah. I was in Milan with a couple of buddies my first couple of weeks in Italy. And we went out partying. They parked. I caught a ride with this dude that I barely knew in like a BMW that was maybe 10, 15 years old. Mm-hmm. And he had a bunch of wires coming out of the center console for like an aux cord and a charger
Okay.
to charge his like cell phones and like iPods or whatever. And it was New Year's morning, and we were walking back towards the car, and we see a guy in that Hurt Locker suit, the EOD suit, walking from the car. The car has police tape all around it. People are like across the street, and then they hit something and blew the goddamn doors off the car. They thought, because they thought there was a bomb they thought all those wires indicated an IED, a VBID, and they blew the goddamn doors off of this poor dude's BMW.
Oh my God. Is that how you handle finding a bomb? Just with another bomb?
With more bombs, yeah.
Oh my God.
It's the Italian way. You fight fire with fire. You
Bombception.
fight bomb with bomb. We had to drive home. We got pulled over. I was sitting in the back. It smelled like explosives. Then we get pulled over a couple of times by the carabinieri. We're like, what happened to your doors? And the guy was like, you guys blew them off. And they're like, oh, that was you in Milan?
We heard about that.
Yeah. I was getting phone calls for weeks from the embassy trying to explain it. They're like, so what happened? I was like, yeah, they just blew the goddamn doors off. I don't know.
Did they at least give him like a new car or some money?
So I wasn't friends with this guy. He was a friend of a friend. And he was trying, that's why the embassy was involved. Because they were like trying to keep it from becoming like a big international incident.
Wow.
And he was trying to get his fucking car paid for.
Damn.
Yeah, so anyway, destroyed.
Yeah, so
C4 in the front seat.
How does an Outback do that? An Outback ride?
Well, none of the Australians don't take the air out of their tires when they go on unimproved roads. So like hardball roads and then just dirt roads.
Mm-hmm.
And all throughout the Outback, the road through the Outback is a dirt road. So it's all just corrugated. It's just it's just non-stop speed bumps. So if you don't have really good shocks, it's just going to blow your suspension to pieces. And then after, everything in your car is going to be rattled non-stop. And if you keep going, shit's just going to fall apart. Literally fall apart.
David really kind of saved our lives there.
Yeah, David explained all of that to me. I'm not just someone who knew that. David
and held it in this whole time
was like,
we were planning
thanks for
it.
reminding me about how that works, Dave. No,
Yeah,
So
because we'd be stuck right now. Instead of recording a podcast on a cliff, we'd just be trapped in the Outback with all the tarantulas and
Dingaroos. Yeah,
So-
and another thing, we were like, all right, so we're not going to go through the Outback. And we were like, David, is it worth going up to the Northern Territories? He's like, no, not this time of year. Not this time of year. It's a rainy season of this.
You get stick.
What?
Stick?
Stick.
I can't do Australian accent.
He was telling us we get stuck. We're like, what do you mean we get stuck? He's like, if roads flood out, you just get stuck up there.
For weeks.
And then you're there with a bunch of crocodiles. But what's a couple of crocodiles amongst friends? Like, a lot of danger.
Yeah, they're big on crocodiles here. Crocodiles like to hang up north. Some other guy that we met in a park, just walking his dog, was talking about how the croc-infested waters, they would send the dogs out first, just to make sure that it was like cool to swim.
Yeah, that's just the thing. You go find a little swimming hole up there in the Northern Territory, crocodile's gonna get you.
Yeah.
So they let their dogs go swimming first, and if the dog comes out, they're like, all right, probably not a crocodile. Crocodiles love dogs.
Yeah. They got crocs to the north, sharks to the south.
Yeah.
Here I am.
Stuck in the middle with you.
Gay. Let's edit that out. Might as well if we're going to bleep out the names.
Well, all right. You're making a lot of work for me. I'm not editing that shit. Lisa and Joe, they're staying in. We're just going to let the cookies crumble. And we got warned that Australians are very sensitive. And put on top of that, comedians that were trashing on occasion here.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, we're going to have some hurt feelings.
That's okay.
Yeah, it is okay.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Whew. All right. What else do you want to talk about?
What else we got on the list?
Let me look. We can talk about oh my god. Let's talk about incognito camping.
Okay. Yeah, we're getting good at it.
That's been I think we're getting really good at it.
Especially for our van looking like a big orange turd.
I was gonna
Very
say turd.
Were you gonna say turd?
Well, I was gonna say turd, but you know what it probably looks more like? It looks
turd.
more like your pee when you don't drink enough water. It's like the
Okay.
exact color of dehydrated piss.
It's a brownish, it's a golden brown.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's striking. We were sitting in Fremantle, and a cop came up. Did we say this on the podcast?
No.
The cop came up, just knocked on the window.
We rolled it down.
Oh, yeah, we rolled it down, and he was like, because I saw him eyeballing, we're just both staring at this cop. And he just goes, "Oh, I was just saying to my partner."
Looks like this van has seen some things.
A very striking van. Looks like it's seen some things. And we were like, yes, thank you, officer. Noted. You know what our van looks like.
And you don't want to see it here anymore.
We understand what you're saying,
yeah,
officer.
we get it. We get it.
Yeah, we'll move along.
Yeah, and we did. But yeah, so it's very striking, notable color. So we thought it'd be kind of difficult incognito camping. But aside from the one almost murder that we witnessed, we've been okay.
Yeah.
And I think it's because we've been parking in some of the rich neighborhoods.
Yes.
Mossman Park is one of them.
Beautiful area.
Oh, they've got like castles there.
Literal castles.
Yeah.
Overlooking a beautiful harbor. And the last thing they expect, two fucking assholes just sleeping in their car.
Yeah, everyone on this street has a yacht, like a sailboat. We can see them all. And it's beautiful, like $1 million homes. And we've been okay.
Yeah, not a single problem.
Not a single problem.
Tonight we're sleeping, like Al said, right by a cliff, overlooking. It's like got almost a Cliffs of Moher feel.
Yeah.
It's probably not as high, but the water it's more imposing. The water's cooler, and we're hoping to see some whales. It's whale season.
Yeah. So hopefully we see something.
Yeah. Instead, we just got two hippie dipshits sitting right next to us.
Yeah, looking in our window.
Neither of them wearing bras, but both of them need them. It's a couple. It's a guy and a girl.
Yeah. Oh my god. We had kind of a terrifying moment in one of the parks. I don't remember which one it was, but I remember waking up to the sound of a truck backing up.
It was the one near the college.
Yeah, I looked through the window and it was like 7 a.m. and it was a tow truck. And I was like, oh, okay, it's happening. We're getting towed. They didn't even knock to see if people were in. They're just towing our vehicle.
Honestly, that wouldn't have been so bad if we'd have just
hunkered
down. Imagine if he took us, we go to the depot, and then we just emerge in the depot, grab the keys, drive right on out.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it would go like that.
I don't think it would, but anyway, in my fantasy.
Yeah, it was scary. I mean, that's just the story. I mean, I woke up and I was like, oh my god, this is how it ends.
Well, that's not
it happened.
But it wasn't for us.
No, it was for the guy right next to us.
Yeah, some old guy, I think his car battery died.
Yeah.
Or something. He needed a tow, so he had a wrecker come get him.
Oh my god, but that was scary.
Yeah.
I woke Pat up. I was like, Pat, we're getting towed right now.
Yeah, I was both relieved and very mad when we weren't getting towed. Honestly, more mad than relieved. That was good catch. I didn't hear the tow truck at all, which is a concern for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I'd noticed.
It's okay. I got you.
Thanks.
Oh yeah. What else happened? Maggie River happened.
Oh, that was a beautiful spot.
Yeah.
First time I saw a forest that I've actually been impressed by here. Actually, the rainforest over in Lorne's pretty cool. But the forest, the nice trees, good looking trees out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really cool trees.
They have caves.
Yeah, we drove all the way there. For those of you who remember, Maggie River was the location that we were supposed to go before I lost my purse, and we had to backtrack 3 hours.
Yeah.
We were like an hour outside of Maggie River. Margaret River is
yeah,
the
we
name.
have Maggie for short. We know her pretty well by
Yeah,
now.
right.
Yeah,
She's a pal.
Yeah, she calls me Pat. She calls Allie Al.
Yeah.
We call her Maggie.
We're all good friends.
Yeah.
She's a crocodile, actually. But, yeah. It's a croc among friends.
Yeah.
But,
Nice.
we went to Perth instead because we wanted to get there for New Year's, so we decided to save Maggie River for later. So we went to Maggie River, and there's a place where you can see stingrays in Hamelin Bay. So we posted up there for the night. We woke up at like 7 or 8 a.m. in the morning. I was so excited. I was like a child. I had my GoPro. I was like, let's go see the stingrays. And we go out there.
Huge stingrays.
Well, when we went out the first time, there were none.
Yeah.
Remember? I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't realize that they were working the late shift.
Yeah, no stingrays right when we got up. I was wondering if this was another huge mistake.
Yeah.
We were just on another wild goose chase.
Yeah, a 3-hour drive for nothing.
So we went into town, got some breakfast.
Yeah, you got some cold brew.
Oh, yeah, finally. I think I just cracked something. Yeah, got some cold brew coffee, which they actually, like, they do, you can ask for an iced coffee, and they just, like, it's coffee-flavored milk with, like, a dollop of ice cream. And you're like, what in the fuck is this? And they're like, well, that's how we make it around here. We don't even know what you saying. Like, what the fuck? I don't want ice cream. I'm looking for a breakfast drink. A coffee. Anyway, so cold brew coffee. They made it. It was great. Went to a bookstore. Met a dog named Paddington.
He was great.
He was great. Lived for that. He was leaning his ass against my legs, and I lived for that shit. That just makes me feel real good.
Oh, yeah.
And then we went to go see a cave. And the first cave we went to was...
I don't remember the name.
I don't either. But we walked over there, and the woman's just like, you guys here to do the cave? And we're like, yeah.
She's like, is it your first time doing the caves?
First
we're
time.
like, yeah.
Is this your first cave? And we're like, uh-huh.
She's like, well, this is a nice cave, but if you're adventurous...
Do you want a big boy cave? This is for children, this cave.
There were kids everywhere.
Big boy cave? And we're like, uh-huh.
And she's like, there's some pictures of the big boy cave if you want to look and see if you like it. Do you like it?
Yeah, we're like, we do.
Okay, then get the fuck out of here and drive 6 more miles down the road.
And we did.
Yeah.
So we did.
Yeah.
And it was a cool cave.
Yeah, it was Giant Cave, right? Something like that.
Yeah, it was Giant Cave.
Yeah.
Big cave.
It was cool. It was self-guided.
We didn't have a small cave to compare it to, so we don't know how big it actually was.
I'm sure it was big. Hence the name, Giant's Cave.
Yeah.
I trust him.
Okay.
But, yeah, we went in, and it was great. It was self-guided. We got to just fuck around a little bit with our little headlamps.
Yep, it was just us, our headlamps, a helmet, and then you go down, turn it off, play a little Marco Polo.
Oh, that was the best.
Yeah, that was scary.
That was great. I was so bad at it. I breathe so hard when I'm nervous.
Oh, yeah. And I just breathe so hard. Period.
Yeah, but I couldn't find Pat. You're sneaky.
Yeah.
Good at being down there.
Good at being a cave person. Then we found a maze.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
You did? Because I didn't, because I fucking crushed you.
Yeah, I was like, hey, let's just race through this cave, see who makes it out the other side first.
Race through the what?
Oh, the maze. Sorry.
Yeah.
The maze.
The maze. It was like a shrubbery maze. Because I fucking crushed this maze. If I were an axe murderer and Allie was Danny Torrance, I'd have hacked her to pieces.
Yeah, but, I mean, you didn't.
But I will.
Just you wait.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, it was, the only reason he won was because there were 2 ways to start. You could either go left or right. He chose right, which was the only option to win the maze.
I'm not sure that's correct.
He had like a minute head start on me. Whatever.
I took almost no wrong turns. Almost
Really?
no wrong turns, yeah.
Okay. Because I heard you swearing and saying you dog a bunch of times, so I assumed maybe not everything went as planned.
That was psychological warfare. I was playing against you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, you got to know thy enemy.
Oh, my God. Well, it worked.
And then we went back to Hamelin Bay.
Went
Yeah,
back.
we were just like, all right, let's see if the Rays are back.
And they were up.
They were up. They
Yep.
were,
The workday starts at 10 a.m. apparently.
Yeah,
no
they were
earlier.
bebopping around. We got some good footage.
Yeah, I'm so excited to show you guys. They look so weird. They look crazy.
Yeah, they're just, yeah.
We were touching them. We were getting all up in
slimy.
there. Yeah.
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 You went out swimming with them.
I did.
Did you see any out in the deep end?
I did. It was scary because, I mean, you just see like the shadow kind of, and they just kind of are flying through the water.
They were gigantic. They were like, what would you call the wingspan? 5 feet?
No. 4? 3?
No, way
3
bigger
feet?
than 3.
Really?
Yeah.
What's 3 feet? Like my arm?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're like that size.
No. Again, I make them double that size.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, we'll look it up later.
Yeah, gigantic. Here's the thing. You can't trust Allie about these rays either. They're called stingrays. And I was like, aren't these the things that killed Steve Irwin?
And I said yes.
You said no.
I said yes, but I said it was a manta ray. It was the ray with like the little pinchers in front.
Yeah, and I'm saying it's the one with sting in its name.
It's not a manta stingray? Aren't they a type of stingray?
I think they're just a kind of ray.
So there's just rays that don't sting you?
You got different kinds of rays. You got stingrays, manta rays, Ray Bonner, who gives us 2-star reviews.
Ray Skywalker.
Yeah, a lot of rays. A lot of ways to take you down.
Yeah. I don't know, I thought that in addition to stinging, they also could like stab you with their tail. They could pinch your face with their pinchers.
I don't think they pinch your face with their pinchers. I think those are like two little. They're not antenna, like but they act as antenna, and they just kind of skull on the bottom of the sea floor and see if there's any food that they can slurp. Man. This is the refuse to look anything up podcast, guys. Welcome to the not gonna get any smarter podcast.
We're just going to rely on people like David to tell us that we can't actually go through the Outback instead of just Googling it one time.
Yep, trust what people say podcast.
We did. We looked it up on YouTube. We're like, oh, okay. If we had just done this 2 months ago, we could have just gone a different route.
Yeah.
So we'll just keep doing that. We'll just keep not looking things up.
Yeah, so where are we off to next? We're off to Coober Pedy.
Yep.
Which is, we do actually have some knowledge about this.
Yes.
This is one of the hottest places on Earth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like 114, 115 degrees.
Yeah, so they live underground, like a bunch of cave people.
They have to.
If you guys have been listening, you know I'm good at cave personing.
Yeah, so you're gonna be great at this.
I am, yeah. An underground well. They have like a whole underground village.
Yeah.
It's like a human terrarium.
They got underground homes, churches, bars, and they have an outdoor theater that I guess is really cool because
outdoor but underground?
No, it's still above ground.
Above a ground. Weird way to say it, but okay.
It's above the ground.
Above our ground. Surface dweller.
They have like a golf course that's abandoned where you can just play golf, but it's like in the desert.
It's abandoned?
I think so. I don't think it's like a legitimate golf course. I think it's like for funsies. Like for all the Instagram hoes to take pictures at. Okay.
I'm very interested. I should Google this place.
Yeah.
Because I'm not convinced you know what you're talking about.
I do. It was one of the top attractions for Coober Pedy.
Okay.
Go to the golf course. But yeah, so we're going to check that out. I think that's like 7 hours north of Port Augusta.
Yes.
So
we'll do that, and then we are moving over to Braidwood to do some volunteer work for the fire. Mm-hmm. The big Australian fire, which is kind of getting under control. I hope they still need our help, because I'm itching to do something.
I bet they will. Yeah. There's still a couple fires that are still going, even despite the rain, so we'll see. We'll see what they let us do. Yeah. That's what I'm interested. Like, if I can just hold a baby kangaroo, a joey, for 12 hours a day, that would be ideal.
Yeah. I'd like to nurse koalas back to health.
You paused too long after saying nurse. I was like, what are you going to do?
Yeah, breastfeed koalas. With my massive tits.
Yeah, so we'll see what they tell us to do. I'm interested to see what our work day is going to be like.
Yeah.
But it's through what, 3 weeks? 12 hours a day?
12 hours a day, 3 weeks. Yeah, it's going to be rough podcasting, and hopefully we have some type of internet signal so we can upload the episodes, because it's 3 weeks.
Yep.
3 weeks, 12 hours a day. Not sure about weekends, not sure. Really, I don't know. I mean, this is just what the website said.
Yeah, we could Google it, but...
Yeah, but again...
That's not our brand.
Yeah, that's not the podcast.
Yeah.
Podcast is us being stupid.
Yeah.
Period.
You know what would be crazy?
Tell me.
What if Sally was there? Because she's a
Sally.
doctor.
She is a doctor.
And she goes to different places. Like, she does little, like, tours. Like, in Darwin and, like, various, like, Tasmania. She'll do, like, a 2 or 3 week thing.
I don't see her volunteering for anything.
Neither do I.
I don't see her doing a single thing that doesn't earn her money or isn't somehow shystily stealing labor.
I had, like, a stress dream about Sally in, like, the height of our drama with her, like, right before we decided, okay, this is enough, we need to leave. I had, like, a dream that I was, like, in a hospital, like, giving birth to, like, our firstborn child, and you, like, left the room for it just to, like, get some air, and she came in, and I was, like, screaming in my dream, and I, like, woke up, and I was, like, sweating, and I was like, we gotta get out of here. Like, that was, like, a real... I'm not saying I'm gonna have stress dreams about her being at the fire camp, but
Well,
oh my god, could you imagine?
No, I could not imagine.
That would just be
In fact,
wild.
I'm not imagining.
That would be wild.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Fantasy Podcast, where we talk about our dreams and we just go, wouldn't that be crazy?
All right, you hate my content. Shut
No,
up.
I'm sorry. I'm being...
It's all good. All good. Where are we at time-wise?
We are at 41-ish minutes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do we
41
wanna do some questions? We have a long one.
What's the... Yeah, fuck it. Let's do it.
Okay. This one's kind of interesting and not one that we've gotten yet. So I'm excited to tackle this.
Do you think it's from like an actual listener? Do you think like someone we know or like a
So they wanted me to keep their identity anonymous. And I think once you hear the question, you'll see why.
But is it someone we know or is it someone like a broader listener?
I don't think I know this person.
Okay.
So I think it is just a rando.
But
I also didn't dig too much into it. It's kind of like the reviews that we get on Apple Podcasts where it's like Miss S79 and I'm like, that's got to be someone I know. I must know a teacher, but I can't exactly place them. That's kind of what I get from this person.
Okay.
I don't recognize the name really, but I also didn't really dig that far. I could have just looked at my Facebook friends, but I didn't because we don't look up anything. Okay, here we go. Hey, love the podcast. Wanted your perspective on this. I met my wife on Tinder and got married a year later. Good for him.
Nice.
She was told she couldn't have children, and despite that, things were honestly great. 2 years ago, we had a kid, and now she doesn't give me attention at all. It's obvious if you look on her social media. Every photo is of her and not a single one of me with the kid. Am I being petty? I feel like she is disconnected from me altogether and is disconnecting me from the child. I'm a good dad. You just wouldn't know it if you followed my wife on social media. What should I do?
Ooh.
No. It's a heavy one.
I mean, definitely, step one is be very open with your feelings about, like, how you feel second fiddle to this kid, this chump, moving in on your territory. I mean, we aren't parents.
Yeah.
So this is where it gets just like, well, I'm just gonna talk out of my ass then. But yeah, imagine you still got to keep each other as the priority.
You would have to, I would think.
Right? Like, it's still, I mean, you're raising the child together, hopefully, but it doesn't seem like he feels like he is part of that process.
Yeah. I definitely saw that a little bit when I was a newborn photographer, because I would go into these rooms where a kid was just born, like 1, maybe 2 days old, and I felt that vibe from moms in the beginning, where they're very overprotective, and the dad's just kind of sitting on the chair being like, okay, can I, like, hold the kid now? But, like, the mom... And that might be different because she just went through, like, a really traumatic experience having the kid. So maybe there's, like, a little bit of that in the beginning. But if this kid is 2 years old and that's still going on, I mean, that would kind of make me mad.
Yeah, it seems like... Well, it seems like there's something else in between, right? So if it's going on for that long, then communication probably isn't where it should be.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe she's just using the child as the buffer for covering a gap in communication, probably a gap in intimacy, a gap in everything that should make their relationship strong, right?
Yeah.
So it might, I mean, here's the tough sitch, pal. She might have already pulled away.
Yeah.
And she's just covering the lack of intimacy with you, with focusing all of her love and attention to that child.
Yeah.
So I would have a frank, open, and honest discussion with her. Ask her how she feels about you as a dad, one, and then a separate issue, how she feels about you as a husband.
Yeah.
And you need to be open and honest about how you feel about her as a wife.
Because kids can sense that, especially at a young age. They can sense when there's just bad energy all the time, and they can also sense when they're just getting more love from one person than another. Because that was another thing that I would see in some of these hospital rooms is I would be warned by the nurse before going in sometimes, and she would say, hey, this child is like very stressed and is crying a lot because there is not like the parents have issues, and that's like all that they would say.
Yeah.
Just to give me like a heads up before going in, and you could feel that negative energy, and that kid, that's all the energy that they have to go off of, so they react to that. So I mean, if obviously you feel bad enough that you've reached out to us for our advice, I'm sure that's also showing whenever you're hanging out with the kid or hanging out with the mom, that negative energy is going to eventually affect that kid.
Well, here's the flip side of it too, and not to be like, this is mostly for a different perspective. Do a hard audit of yourself too. Are you being a needy little biatch? I wanted to soften the blow for you. I don't know. Are you being needy? Are you asking for more than you kind of deserve? Or do you need to take a back seat a little bit and refocus where your energies are? Are they focused too inward at yourself? Or are you not focusing outward to meet the needs of the people around you?
Yeah.
You know, like, because that could be it too. I would do a couple of things, man. I'd look to increase your communication with your wife. I'd look to double down your efforts as a dad. You know, and I would look to maybe focus both inwardly at where you can do better in both regards, like as a husband and as a father, and redirect those efforts out.
Yeah.
You know, like it like as much as it might be your bitch of a wife, it might also be your bitch of a self-esteem. You know.
Yeah.
Like, it could be either one. So do, like, a legitimate, hard audit of yourself.
Yeah.
Before you focus your anger or resentment outward.
And I would ask, like, have you gotten her out of the house, away from the child, to just focus on her? Like, have you given her, like, a spa day, like, an opportunity to take a trip with friends? I mean, I don't know. Like, that... I think if you're constantly doing that and you're offering an alternative instead of her being around the kid all the time, like maybe she needs that too. Like maybe that will help her, you know, get a babysitter. Like, when's the last time you guys took a trip together? Like,
yeah, focus on each other. If you focus on her needs, she'll focus on yours.
Exactly.
Right? Like that's kind of what a relationship is, at least to some degree. Is you guys covering for each other, making sure that the other person's doing okay and that like their needs are met one way or the other. And if you're not doing that for her, it makes sense that she would be dropping the ball with you.
Yeah.
And also know that a kid breaks up the dynamic. Like if you guys didn't have the conversation that it's 2 against 1 and it's you two versus that kid, then like you need to, right? Like it's
true.
Yeah, it's don't let that kid steal your marriage.
Yeah. Yeah, that kid has been around way fewer years than you two have been together, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they shouldn't have anything on your relationship and who gets more time with who. Like, that shouldn't even be a consideration. Like, you guys should be one. You guys should always be the priority. And maybe that sounds weird. Like, I'm not saying don't make your kid your priority, but...
And that's the thing. We aren't parents.
That's true.
So we are hard talking out of our ass.
Yeah.
So, but you know what, guys? Write in, tell us that we're wrong or whatever. Tell us that you think we're wrong. We'll tell you that, you're probably right.
Let's do this. If you guys have a better answer to that question, I mean, we want to build a community. We want to build, like, trust among all of our listeners. Like, if you don't want to be named or whatever, just let me know. But if you have better advice, parents out there, like, we can address it on our podcast.
Yeah, we got tons of parents. I know my parents are listening. 2 out of 5 stars.
Yeah. Oh, man. Good shit. Cool.
All right. Do we have anything else to say before we start closing it out?
Ooh, I don't think so. I don't have any shoots coming up. I don't think you have any shows.
Well, we got a couple of things that we'll be pushing out on our YouTube video. Content about our trip to Maggie River. I'm sorry, but yeah,
Rottnest Island.
Rottnest Island, but also we've got some stuff that we can put together for Maggie River.
Mm-hmm.
We will be filming out at the Coober Pedy. Goddamn. We'll be stopping in Canberra, where they are legalizing marijuana.
Yeah.
So we'll see if those nerds can hang, or if I can still hang with those nerds. And then we're going to be volunteering out in Braidwood, and we'll be pushing out more content and links to donate and support for both wildlife and to fight the fires.
Yeah, for
All right, guys, look for all of that content coming out on our YouTube channel at Work Our Way. Follow us on Instagram at Work Our Way. Email any questions you guys got to workourwaypodcast@gmail.com. Look at our website, still pretty cool. I got to update that for Take Off the Perth shows. And one more thing that I am forgetting. What is it? Al, help me.
I don't know. I love the song, though.
I know. It's a pretty good one. Guys, this is what it is. We're going to close the circle, close the loop on it. Leave us a 5-star review. Leave us some comments, all right?
Yes.
Positive if you can help it. Dad.
Yeah, my sister has been crushing it. Thank you, Jen. You've been sharing all of our stories, and you've left comments. Rest of my family, I know you're out there. You're out there somewhere. Show us by commenting on Apple iTunes podcasts.
A couple of people have asked if they can subscribe or do a Patreon thing, and we're thinking about launching a Patreon with some additional content. But right now, the biggest way you guys can support us is if you leave those comments, you leave the reviews, and you get somebody else to listen. All right.
Real.
As long as we see those listeners go up, we're pretty happy. All right. So let's keep that trend moving.
Woo-hoo.
All right. You got
Awesome.
anything else?
No, but the sun is going down.
Nice.
We're just in time for the sunset. How romantic.
Okay.
And we'll hit you guys next week.
All right. See you guys. Bye.
See ya.